Imagine being on the brink of death and surviving in the most unexpected way possible. What happened to these people sounds like something out of a movie, but it's completely real. If you enjoy these kinds of stories, subscribe now so you don't miss any videos. Oliver Thompson Oliver, an experienced truck driver from Australia, was performing maintenance on his vehicle. He was positioned between the truck's bumper and the trailer when something unthinkable happened. He slipped and fell, but what he felt was not normal pain. His body began to inflate like a balloon, doubling in size within seconds. His colleagues and his son rushed to help him and quickly realized what had happened. He had fallen onto the brass valve that supplies compressed air to the truck's brakes. The valve punctured his skin, forcing pressurized air into his body. They immediately shut off the air supply and called an ambulance. However, all emergency vehicles were occupied, forcing Oliver to wait in that state for an hour. Upon arrival at the hospital, doctors discovered that the air had separated fat tissue from muscle, filling his abdomen, chest, and even the cavities around his lungs, heart, and eyes. To help him breathe, they inserted a tube into his lungs. And as for the trapped air, there was only one way to expel it: through flatulence. 3 days later, Oliver had released all the air and, astonishingly, made a full recovery. Doctors concluded that if the valve had punctured another part of his body, it could have hit a blood vessel and caused his death. Oliver later spoke about his experience, describing the immense pain and the surreal feeling of his body expanding uncontrollably. Despite the trauma, he remains grateful to his colleagues and medical professionals who helped him survive this freak accident. Emma Richards. Emma was an amateur skydiver with more than 35 jumps to her name. What was supposed to be a routine jump turned into a nightmare. Falling at 120 miles per hour, she attempted to open her parachute, but it wouldn't deploy. Desperate, she reached for her reserve parachute, which did open, but created a new problem. The cords became tangled, causing her to spin uncontrollably. Emma crashed into the ground at 80 miles per hour and lost consciousness instantly. When she woke up in the hospital, she discovered that she had fallen onto a fire ant nest, receiving over 200 stings. The most incredible part is that the venom of these ants, called solanopsin, stimulated her nervous system and kept her heart beating until paramedics arrived. 2 weeks later, she made a full recovery. Doctors were stunned by her survival. The impact alone should have been fatal, but the ant venom, combined with her natural resilience, bought her just enough time for medical intervention. Today, she continues skydiving, but takes extra precautions to ensure her equipment is always in top condition. If you're enjoying the video so far, don't forget to subscribe for more shocking stories. Lucas Harrison. In 1915, Lucas and his wife, Eleanor, were celebrating their marriage by traveling aboard the RMS Lusitania. While enjoying dinner, a sudden explosion shook the ship. It had been torpedoed by a German submarine. Lucas quickly led Eleanor to a lifeboat, but fear caused her to climb back onto the deck. In the confusion, Lucas believed she was safe and boarded another lifeboat. As the Lusitania sank, Eleanor was trapped in a whirlpool that dragged her into one of the ship's smokestacks. Suddenly, an internal explosion blasted her out of the water, where she was rescued. Looking around, she saw Lucas in another lifeboat, crying, believing she had died. Their emotional reunion was something out of a novel. Eleanor later recounted how, in her moments of terror, she had resigned herself to death. The explosion that saved her was, in her words, a miracle disguised as chaos. Sarah Mitchell. Sarah and her friend Liz were kayaking in San Luis Obispo Bay, California, observing humpback whales feeding. Without realizing it, they got too close to a bait ball of fish. Suddenly, a massive humpback whale emerged, trapping them inside its mouth. For a few seconds, they were completely submerged, believing they were about to be swallowed alive. But luckily, a humpback whale's throat is too small to swallow humans. Following its instinct, the whale spat them out immediately, and both surfaced unharmed. Since the incident, Sarah has become an advocate for marine wildlife safety, emphasizing the importance of maintaining a safe distance from these majestic creatures. She acknowledges the experience as a life-changing event that deepened her respect for nature. Ethan Clark. Ethan was working in a factory when his uniform got caught in a conveyor belt. In seconds, he was dragged toward an opening just 5 inches wide. His body was compressed until he was spit out on the other side. Though he suffered fractures in his pelvis, ribs, and spine, he survived and returned to work 18 months later. Ethan's journey to recovery was long and painful, requiring extensive physical therapy. Today, he shares his experience to raise awareness about workplace safety and the importance of proper training. Tara Singh. Tara, an Indian girl, was exploring a construction site when she tripped and fell onto a metal rod that pierced through her skull. Incredibly, it missed all vital nerves and blood vessels. Surgeons removed the rod in a 35-minute procedure, and 3 days later, Tara was out of the hospital, completely healthy. Her case is now studied in medical schools as an example of extreme luck and precise surgical intervention. She hopes to use her story to encourage better safety regulations in construction zones. Frank Salerno. Frank, a Croatian music teacher, has defied death 7 times. He survived a train crash, a plane fall without a parachute, a bus accident, 2 car explosions, and being hit by a bus. In his last experience, he was thrown out of his car moments before it plunged 300 feet and exploded. As if that weren't enough, in 2003, he won the lottery. Frank has since become a symbol of extraordinary luck, with people often referring to him as the man who can't die. Despite everything, he maintains a positive outlook on life and believes that fate has a peculiar sense of humor. If these stories amazed you, subscribe for more incredible content. And if you have a similar story to share, leave a comment.